Hello, my name is Alexei Novitsky, and today I'd like to read to you Spirit, the Vortex of Creation. It is a book that's part of a series, Mind, Body, Spirit. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen, and we'll get started. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and notify. Here we go. Spirit, the Vortex of Creation. There are many influences within our day that create the experience manifested. Modern science and material thinking would have you think that the body is primary and that mental experiences come from complex interactions of chemistry within the brain. Well, why do we awaken and fall asleep according to the circadian rhythm? In mind, the shifter and reorganizer of nodes, we see that as our physical body rotates with the Earth, that our conscious fields undergo gyroscopic precession as they are guided by tidally locked fluids of the fifth dimension. In body, the mind spaceship, we see how sound, light, matter, and magnetism emerge from our greatest inertial reference frame as we orbit the center of all moments. It is all a relative scenario. Fluid on the inside is crunched, creating matter, while fluid that is on the outside is light, stretching away. In the past, the opposite effect is occurring. It is always an overlapping of one half past and one half future, as projections of mind synchronize to create a fluid experience. Spirit, the vortex of creation, shows a bigger picture. We see that our perceptions of body and behaviors are regular in cyclical nature with the natural processing of spirit. It is all spirit, and all spirits have a relative body. Your spirit, the raw energy of your creation, starts from the beginning of time and spirals inward along the habitable spiral of perception into dream state, into awake state, and then continues inward to the center of time. This natural spiraling of energy inwards is what causes perceptions to process. As the raw energy drifts inwards, it passes through all incarnations of the self, past, present, and future. We see that these processional cycles are regular in nature and highly influence human behavior and cultural developments. Were people from the past less advanced, more advanced, or just undergoing a different injection of conscious vibration within the great day of the 25,920-year precession of the Earth? Let us now examine the 25,920-year precessional cycle in more detail. We see ancient cultures have looked at this long, and many systems have been developed. Traditional Hindu cosmologists have broken the cycle into 4 yugas, experiencing each twice. Modern Western cosmologists have broken it into 12 cycles of the zodiac. Here we will relate these cycles to the vibrations of conscious experience within the natural circadian rhythm. The precession of Earth. The Earth undergoes precession every 25,920 years. What exactly does this mean? As the Earth rotates, the North Pole wobbles like a top, making circles over long periods of time. Considering the magnetic field of the Earth, it could be considered the direction the Earth is facing in relationship to celestial bodies like our galactic center or neighboring galaxies. Relating that to something more on a human level, we can compare ourselves to the Earth. Half the day when we look up, we are looking towards the sun, and half the day we are looking up towards the stars. The same is true for the Earth. Half the cycle consists of looking towards the center of all moments, and half may be related to looking away from this greatest center. Experiences emerge physically as a secondary byproduct. It is like night and day, but for the Earth itself. Our 24-hour daily cycle of conscious precession relates directly to this effect, but on a grander scale of 25,920 years. It could be considered a day within the perception of the Earth. Tidally locked fluids of the fifth dimension. Knowing that our primary conscious modes of our body in relationship to our experience, we may map the circadian rhythm within the fifth dimension. When we make this map, as seen in the fifth dimension, we see that our perception is like a gyroscope hanging on a string at a 90-degree angle. This shows us that the focus of our experience is the center of influence of these tidally locked spheres within the fifth dimension. For example, in mind, the shifter and reorganizer of nodes, we created fifth dimensional spheres that orbit regularly. We gave the delta wave a 24-hour orbit, the theta wave a 12-hour orbit, the alpha wave a 6-hour orbit, and the beta wave a 3-hour orbit. As these spheres orbit, you see that the center of our influence could be the center point of these spheres. It's a big loop of perception, followed by a tight loop of perception. We can now make the same map for the Earth's precession, and we can give names to different spheres. There would be a sphere that rotates once every 25,920 years. Divide that by 2, and you get the rotation rate of the next sphere. This would be 12,960 years. Divide that by 2, and you get the next orbit, which is 6,480 years, and divide that one more time for the next rotation, which is 3,240 years. Let's now give names to these spheres of influence that guide our perception and put them into tidal locking. We can now see how the perception of Earth drifts in and out on regular timed intervals and relates directly to the conscious modes of planetary life. Just to relate, in 25,920 years, there are 9,460,800 days. That may be considered the difference in scale when comparing the Earth's consciousness to the human consciousness. However, they both work in harmony, and both must be in harmony for life and experience to flourish. The Earth sleeps. What we see is that the Earth itself has a circadian rhythm that it follows that affects all life on it. Just like the human body, certain systems turn on and off during our daily precession. The same is true for the Earth. The simplest definition of being awake is being conscious of the physical realm. While asleep, the mind is not aware of the physical, and we are somewhat being guided back to the laminar flow of our creation. The main benefit of sleep is rejuvenation. However, while asleep, we are not eating or drinking water. It's important to awaken in order to fill our bodies with the nutrients required for the body to stay functioning. Within the human body, we have many organs and cells which guide this process. The same may be true for the Earth. Relating back to the infinite pool of experience and awareness, we may see that humans may be considered the white blood cells of the Earth and universe. We have the ability to create or destroy any matter we choose fit. We have the ability to detour water supplies and even change the overall albedo with our construction. The human is a simple part of the greater Earth system, which includes volcanic cycles, temperature cycles, CO2 cycles, oxygen cycles, ocean cycles, and just like the human body, they all must work in harmony to create a healthy living being. The Earth awakens. Just like the human circadian rhythm is controlled by tidally locked fluids of the fifth dimension, so is the circadian rhythm of the planet Earth. Consider this the primary vortex of creation that contains the primal fluid spiraling from infinitely large to infinitely small. Conscious fields are created by the relationship of the fluid within it. Each harmonic of conscious experience is controlled by the orbital rate and distance from center. For examples, for humans, our tidally locked fluid related to the 4 local spheres within our relative day. This means that our conscious experience is guided by spheres of the 5th dimension that relate to our conscious harmonics. The same vortex that gives awareness to the human gives awareness to the Earth itself, and so the circadian rhythm offers us much insight into the phases of Earth in relationship to traditional yuga, zodiac, and law of one cycles. Here we've placed the yuga, zodiac, and law of one precessional systems on a single wheel. Wrapped around is the circadian rhythm. In our wheel, the Earth is in the center and the Sun is orbiting counterclockwise once every 25,920 years. The ages of the zodiac. In the zodiac system, the placement on the wheel is related to the Sun's location during the vernal equinox. It is then divided into 12 equal cycles of 30 degrees each. It is a rather simple system consisting of 12 ages. We have the Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, and Pisces. Each age is 2,160 years. Yugas of the precessional cycle. In the Yuga system, the Kali Yuga began at the end of Krishna's era, which was approximately at 3,102 BCE. By knowing we are currently in 2022 CE, we may add the two numbers together to see that 5,124 years have passed since the beginning of the first Kali Yuga. What exactly does this mean? The yugas of the precessional cycle are the Kali, Dwapara, Tetra, and Set. The Kali Yuga lasts for 1,296 years. The Dwapara Yuga lasts for 2,592 years. The Tetra Yuga lasts for 3,888 years, and the Sat Yuga lasts for 5,184 years. The divisions of this system might not make sense at first. However, after relating the circadian rhythm, we may find great insight. Just like the human conscious harmonics, the Earth experiences each unique vibration in two different ways per orbit. It experiences it once as an inward motion and once as an outward motion as we orbit the center of all moments. The end of Krishna's era marks the beginning of Kali out. If 5,124 years have passed since Krishna's era, then we may simply add to see where we are in this cycle. Each Kali Yuga is 1,296 years long, and so Kali out plus Kali in equals 2,592 years. This would be the start of the Dwapara Yuga. The Dwapara Yuga lasts for 2,592 years. The total is 5,184. By subtracting 5,184 by 5,124, we may see that we are at about 60 years from fully entering Tetra Yuga. It is nearly the same moment as fully entering the age of Aquarius as seen in the zodiac system. The Law of One. The Law of One is a series of channeled works that discusses a similar concept. It is interesting how they speak of energy patterns that exist within each cycle and how they affect experience. In the Law of One teachings, we are in transition from what they call a yellow ray energy center into a green ray energy center. The Wheel. Let's now take a closer look at our 25,920 year precessional cycle and the various systems previously mentioned. The Deltaverse. Now that we have aligned our wheel, we may relate the various systems to the circadian rhythm. Notice how we are in Sat Yuga for half of the cycle. When relating to the circadian rhythm, the only harmonic we are in for that long is the beta wave, which is a turning point within our orbit of conscious density. This means within the conscious system, we may orientate the midpoint of our beta experience to the midpoint of the Sat Yugas. It is interesting to see that when we do this, the various lengths of each Yuga system seems to align perfectly in relationship to the relative length that each of our conscious harmonics last. Let's go step by step and relate. From mind, the shifter and reorganizer of nodes, we see that we experience each harmonic twice in two different ways. Once we are drifting in towards the noviverse, and once we are drifting out towards the lower verse. The turning point is approximately 12:45 a.m. This moment of our circadian rhythm could be considered the turning point in relationship to the Kali Yugas. In essence, this turning point, near midnight, is the turning point of Earth's conscious experience. At this moment on the wheel, we see that Kali out and Kali in relate directly to our delta out and delta in. The age of the Taurus would relate to Kali out and delta out. The age of Aries would relate to Kali in and delta in as we move towards denser vibrations. These times, the ages of Taurus and the ages of Aries, Kali in and Kali out, would be equivalent of being in a deep sleep when relating the circadian rhythm. This is the time when its spiritual development is at its lowest. The Thetaverse. As we continue to drift inwards, following the habitable spiral of perception, we see that a new harmonic is created once we hit a distance that is 1/4 the diameter of the previous wave. Relating to the circadian rhythm, this is the moment we are dreaming. We have entered the theta wave of Earth harmony. Here again, we see how each yuga is related directly to a conscious harmonic. The theta wave may be directly related to the Dwapara yugas and yellow ray energy system. In this model, the theta out relates directly to Dwapara out and the end of the age of Gemini and the start of the age of Taurus. Theta in relates directly to Dwapara in and the age of Pisces. The Alphaverse. As we continue to drift inward, we reach a moment where we are again at 1/4 the diameter of the wave that is bigger, and we reach our alpha state of Earth harmony. This is the moment when the Earth awakens. It's like going from a dream state of theta into the awake state of alpha. It is interesting how this transition from theta to alpha seems to be highlighted in all traditional systems as well. It is the moment when we transfer from Dwapara Yuga to Tetra Yuga, and also the moment when we go from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. This transition also symbolizes the transition from yellow ray energy centers to green ray energy centers. As we drift inwards, alpha in relates to tetra in, both the age of Aquarius and Capricorn, and also the green ray energy system. As we drift outwards, alpha out relates to tetra out, both the ages of Cancer and Gemini, and the green ray energy system. The betaverse. As we continue to drift inwards at a distance of 1/4 the previous wave, the beta wave of Earth consciousness is awakened. This is the moment of our most heightened states of being in all three aspects, mind, body, and spirit. The entire system, from the Earth to the human, is fully awake. Historical records indicate this is the time when we built Great Pyramids of Egypt, the Sphinx, and countless other megalithic structures across the globe. Beta in relates directly to Sat in, the age of Sagittarius and Scorpio, and the blue ray energy center. Beta out relates directly to Sat out, the ages of Virgo and Leo, and the blue ray energy center. One thing to note is that in our updated model, which includes the circadian rhythm, is that we have added a section of green, alpha mid, which is placed directly at the turning point of Sat in and Sat out, which corresponds directly to the age of Libra. Why might have we added this dip? All conscious experience is related and stems from the same primal vortex of creation. As fluid rotates above, it also rotates below, and the realms of experience overlap, all tidally locked in the great whirlpool of creation. A primal vortex. All vibrations stem from a rotation or distortion of this greatest center. Just to note, this drawing is not to scale, as the rotation rate of the Earth's great day is 9,460,800 times greater than that of the human experience. This spiral holds all experiences of all sizes, from infinitely large to infinitely small, all a function of a spiraling inward related to a Fibonacci spiral of inward drifting, as we, the harmonizers of the fifth dimension, strive for harmony within this fluid. Let's now take a closer look at this tidally locked vortex that contains all conscious experiences. Tidally locked vortex of the fifth dimension. In the drawing above, each sphere represents a local sphere of influence of the fifth dimension, which is relative to the scale of mind perceiving reality. It could be the mind of a human, the Earth, the solar system, and even a galaxy. Either way, there are local spheres as this vortex stems from 0 to infinity. The purple route indicates the center of influence for the mind within the tidally locked fluid as the system orbits. The sphere on the route represents our maximum vibration of influence, determined by the center of, in quotes, mass of the local system. For example, for a human day of 24 hours, the red sphere will orbit once every 24 hours. For the Earth's day of 25,920 years, the local sphere would orbit every 25,920 years. For the human, the yellow sphere would have a 12-hour orbit, the green sphere would have a 6-hour orbit, and the blue sphere would have a 3-hour orbit. When comparing the vortex to Earth's precessional cycle, the yellow sphere would have a 12,960-year orbit, the green sphere would have a 6,480-year orbit, and the blue sphere would have a 3,240-year orbit. This same system also applies to our 185-day alignment, as well as our 2029-year alignment. It applies to every and all alignments within creation, drifting inwards as well. This means it influences our hourly alignment as well as our 1-second alignment. A grand clock. Let's now take a closer look at this system and relate our center of influence to the times and circadian rhythm. For this, we will start at midnight. Starting at midnight, you can see that all the spheres are aligned on the left side of the vortex. As the full 360-degree circle is made by the red sphere, the inner spheres rotate accordingly in a 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 relationship. Each drawing represents a change of 22.5 degrees of arc for the red sphere, 45 degrees of arc for the yellow sphere, 90 degrees of arc for the green sphere, and 180 degrees of arc for the blue sphere. The red sphere on the purple path is red for both these drawings and symbolizes that the main vibration of influence during these modes of alignment is red. In the Yuga system, this would represent Kali in. In the Law of One, this would represent red ray energy centers. In the zodiac, this would represent the age of Aries, as we are currently on the half of the orbit that is drifting inwards. For simplicity, we will say midnight is the turning point of our orbit, although it is closer to 12:45 a.m. Let's now rotate our clock by 22.5 degrees. In the drawing relating to 3 a.m., we have now shifted from the delta harmonic to the theta inward harmonic, and the sphere on the purple path is yellow, as the center of our influence may be the center of, in quotes, mass of these fifth dimensional spheres. The red sphere is now 45 degrees from the starting point, the yellow sphere is at 90 degrees from start, the green sphere is 180 degrees from start, and the blue sphere has done a complete orbit. In the Yuga system, this could be considered Dwapara in. In the Law of One, this would be yellow ray energy centers. In the ages of the zodiac, we would be in Pisces. The drawing relates to 4:30 a.m. shows the transition from theta brain harmony to alpha brain harmony as we continue to drift inward. This would be significant of the change from Dwapara in to Tetra in, and the change from yellow ray energy centers to green ray energy centers. It also represents the shifting from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. This is our current location on the clock in relationship to the 25,920 year precessional cycle. Let's rotate our clock 22.5 more degrees. At 6 a.m., the red sphere has now rotated 90 degrees. The yellow sphere has done 180 degrees. The green sphere has made one complete rotation, and the blue sphere has made two complete rotations. Notice how the green, blue, yellow spheres are all in a line, and the red is the only one offset. The sphere along the purple path is currently green, symbolizing the alpha in brain state, the green ray energy system, the tetra in, and the end of Aquarius and the start of Capricorn. The transition from green to blue is approximately at 7 a.m., which is showing the second drawing. At 7:30 a.m., we are now in the beta in brain harmony, the sat in Yuga, the age of Capricorn, and the blue ray energy centers. It is now 9 a.m., and we may continue to drift inward. The red sphere has rotated 135 degrees. The yellow sphere has done 315 degrees. The green sphere is at 180 degrees from zero, and the blue sphere is at zero. Again, the center of our influence is the center of, in quotes, mass of these tidally locked spheres and remains in the beta state, Sat Yuga, blue ray energy center, and we are now in the age of Sagittarius. In the drawing representing 10:30 a.m., we are now drifting back outward slightly, and so we will call this our first beta out. This relates to Sat in, the age of Scorpio, and the blue ray energy centers. At noon, our red sphere has orbited 180 degrees. The yellow sphere has made a complete circle. The green sphere has orbited 2 times and is back at its starting point, and the blue sphere has now orbited 4 times. In essence, the only difference between midnight and noon is the location of the red sphere. The alignment of the yellow, green, and blue pull us back outwards. However, the red sphere's location causes us to not fully drift into the yellow and red centers. Our sphere along the purple path will be green during this time. This time relates to the transition from sat in to sat out, the age of Libra, a dip into the green ray energy center, and maybe a great time for a quick nap. The next drawing represents 1:30 p.m. and shows how we re-enter the beta state before drifting back outward. This would relate to sat out, the transition from the age of Libra to the age of Virgo, and the blue ray energy centers. At 3 p.m., our red sphere has now done 225 degrees of rotation. The yellow sphere is at 90 degrees, the green sphere is at 180, and the blue sphere is at 0. Our center of influence remains in the blue ray energy centers as we are now drifting out towards the less dense realms, consisting of lower vibrations. Both these drawings represent sat out and beta out, and the age of Virgo with transition to age of Leo. At 6 p.m., we are in transition from the blue to green spheres. One thing to note is that this is the same orientation as 6 a.m. The only difference is the location of the red sphere. This time relates to alpha out, tetra out, green ray energy centers, and the transition from the age of Leo into the age of Cancer. Our red sphere has done 270 degrees of rotation. The yellow is at 180, and the green and blue spheres are at 0 degrees. At 7:30 p.m., we remain in alpha out, tetra out, green ray energy centers, and are fully in the age of Cancer. At 9 p.m., we are nearing the transition from alpha out into theta out. This also symbolizes the transition from green ray energy centers to yellow ray energy centers, and the switching from tetra out into dwapara out. This is also the age of Gemini. Our red sphere has done 315 degrees, the yellow sphere is at 270, the green sphere is at 180, and the blue sphere is at 0 degrees. Our center of influence is in the green. At 10:30 p.m., we have now transitioned from alpha out into theta out. We are now in the yellow ray energy centers, dwapara out, and entering the age of Taurus. This is the moment when we begin to dream, and the vibrations of Earth's system slows dramatically. It is as if the Earth goes to sleep. The orbit then begins again as the tidally locked fluid of the fifth dimension whirlpools inward. For the human circadian rhythm, this takes 24 hours to complete. For the Earth's precession, it takes 25,920 years. We can now see how these systems are forever intertwined as all experiences are secondary and emerge from the vortex. A bouncing orbit. One thing to note is that the path drawn out by the purple sphere is not a single ellipse. It consists of two ellipses, one big orbit and one tight orbit. The two orbits in combination are what give us a full cycle of the yugas, ages of the zodiacs, and circadian rhythm. Influences on life. Just like the human and the individual cells that create the body undergo changes in function according to the circadian rhythm, so does the planet during this precessional cycle. This implies that humans, being the white blood cells of the universe, will also undergo changes in function within the Earth system. We'll return to this. Distortions of self. Distortions in mind, body, or spirit create delusions, which are spiraling flows of space that act like habitats for beings to evolve within. They also cause us to misalign with the naturally incoming flows of space and disconnect us from the greatest flow. Our current delusions have solidified within the theta state of Earth harmony. As we drift closer to the alpha state of Earth consciousness, our personal bodies need to align with this energy as well. Not aligning with this flow could be comparable to running into a wall at light speed. This may result in spiraling deeper and deeper into personal delusions and will result in a moment of great turmoil. It is up to those who are connected to the laminar flow to use their knowledge of the mind, body, and spirit to help guide spiraling minds towards this greatest vibration. This drawing represents someone who is holding postures of delusion while entering the alpha state of Earth harmony. The shape of the posture could be considered one's ego. It is the postures they hold in all three aspects, mind, body, and spirit. The overall light state harmony in relationship to the green ray energy system may be determined how dramatic this will be for the individual. Postures that do not align with this denser and higher vibration will ultimately melt away through tight spirals of delusion, as they must harmonize with the incoming flows of the lower verse. Delusions must melt. As we enter the alpha state of Earth harmony, all delusions will melt away. This may be considered a convergent moment of conscious experience as we will all become connected to this new vibration. In essence, we will emerge into this new realm, free of delusions and in tune with Earth harmonies. Individuals that refuse to let go of their postures will not be able to properly harmonize. They may become sick in all aspects, mind, body, and spirit. Understanding this, we may take precautions for this upcoming time and begin the guiding process to ease the transition from yellow to green. Recrystallization. This drawing represents aligning your personal body within itself. We must start from small and work up to the greater flows. The first step is to align the chakra centers of your body. Once your body is in harmony with itself in all aspects, mind, body, and spirit, we may then shift our attention to the greater bodies of our experience, such as the earth, moon, and sun. the awakened earth. As recrystallization takes place, so does the sense of purpose within our experience. We will see the earth is alive. We will see the earth needs bandages, as for the last 10,000 years or so, we have been dreaming and are finally awakening from this great sleep. We will see how magnetic focal points of earth may be amplified and strengthened by use of geometric structures, focusing and reflecting healing energy across the earth and cosmos. We will have a new purpose, one that is greater than the self, and the idea of the soul will no longer be science fiction. The perfect rotations of an aligned spirit lead to the perfect projections that allow for faster than light travel as we will traverse dimensions of space and time itself, moving into a great era. As the wheel of time turns, so do all experiences and relationships. Concepts and ideologies that seem practical and reasonable will no longer have any merit, as ultimately we are all intertwined with the greatest vortex of all moments. The push of one causes the pull of another, as we all strive for harmony and bliss within the creation. Through experience, through synchronization, and through love, we are the harmonizers of the fifth dimension. Tohu Vavohu. Well, there you go. So that's Spirit, the Vortex of Creation, and should be available pretty soon, on the website, luciuslabs.com. And well, thank you for checking it out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.